Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. This morning, we're having a chat with the Honorable Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis, the Minister of Sport and Community Development, but we're chatting with her more in her capacity as Tobago West MP. Good morning to you, Minister.
Good morning, Rockers. Good morning, TTT. Good morning, entire Trinidad and Tobago family. It's a pleasure to be with you.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm all right. Thank you.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, the conversation has been ongoing about Tobago's autonomy and the bill and being presented and all that good stuff. But I realize that there's a drive to gain more awareness as to what exactly we mean by Tobago autonomy and how people should get involved and why they should be getting involved. I heard in the recent town hall meeting you compared it to a marriage. Can you explain to us a little bit more about why people should be getting involved in Tobago's autonomy?
This matter of internal self-government or push for greater autonomy in Tobago and the Tobago House of Assembly, it predates you and me. As you know, Tobago wasn't always a part of this marriage with Trinidad. Very many decades ago, centuries ago, we were placed with Trinidad. We would have had our own Tobago House of Assembly, our own economy, our own way of doing things before that marriage. And after that, we lost a lot of what we had, for instance, our own assembly and so on, through being linked with Trinidad. However, in 1977, Mr. Arthur Napoleon Raymond Robinson brought a motion to the Parliament on internal self-government for Tobago. He was an opposition member, I think, member for Tobago East at the time, and the motion was carried and passed unanimously. And since then, the fight for internal self-government, especially at the parliamentary level, has been on. There has been accomplishments made, for instance, the re-establishment of the House of Assembly in 1980. But even at that time, we didn't have anything close to what Robinson had imagined and what Tobagonians were clamoring for. We came back to the House again in 1990, and right now we operate on Act 40 of 1990. Now, of 1996, at the end of the day, we are still nowhere close to where we want to be. And since then, the conversation have been taking place in the House of Assembly all over Tobago. In 2007, Ashworth Jack, as a minority member in the Tobago House of Assembly, brought a motion, and it was unanimously accepted and passed by the Orville London-led People's National Movement-led Tobago House of Assembly, that we would consult all of Tobago, form the John Prince Committee and so on, to get Tobagonians on board this whole matter of internal self-government, so that we can present a proper positions, say in clear terms what we desire. And somewhere around 2012, 2013, Ashworth Jack relinquished his support for his own motion and the process that was taking place, but Orville London carried on. And we have worked since then towards educating Tobagonians, making them aware, getting Tobagonians from all walks of life on board, encouraging people to put down their political hats. We worked in collaboration with different parties, including Ho Choi Charles at that time, to come up with a Tobago position, because we recognize the only way we can get this done is to speak to Trinidad and to speak to the Parliament with one voice. At the end of the day, we cannot grant internal self-government to ourselves. We have to convince the Parliament. The laws have to be changed, and the only place where laws can be changed is in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. So therefore, we have to encourage and get the support of the Parliament. So there has been over 42 consultations. You have, for the first time in our history, a joint select committee being established and going through the rigors of getting technical support, guidance, and so on, both locally and internationally, from the United Nations, from other countries and parliaments would have gone through a similar type of situation. And the THA sent it to the Parliament in 2016, draft bill for us to consider. And here we are today trying to bring this whole process to a close or to a vote after the Joint Select Committee has done its work and interacted and engaged the public over the years.
So, Minister, what has been some of the challenges in not getting the parliamentarians on board with passing this bill? What are some of the challenges that we've been facing?
I think that this is the most parliamentary support we have had over the years. We are at the point now where it's time to bring it to a vote. The last time we debated this matter was in 2021, and the opposition at that time, the UNC, said that they would not support, all because the Tobago House of Assembly, Farley Augustine, and the PDP, who were in alignment with the UNC or in support, they had something going on where they supported each other. They were not on board because they said we didn't get exactly what we had requested from central government. But we have to remember that in presenting our position to central government, we said as Tobagonians that one, we don't want secession, we want to remain a unitary state, and two, we weren't pursuing a federal system at that time. We simply want internal self-government, increased autonomy, and we fleshed out just how. However, some of the language presented in the original bill spoke to matters such as demarcation of Tobago waters versus Trinidad waters, different definitions that speak specifically as if we were seeking secession or to be our own unitary state. But the Parliament and remain adamant that the request to us was to maintain the unitary states of Trinidad and Tobago, because Tobagonians did not say they wanted to leave. So there are some things that we were guided to leave behind by legal luminaries, by other parliaments, other countries that had similar experiences, United Nations, and so on. So I think also there is some political pushback due to political expediency, due to selfishness, due to people who don't want it to happen under the People's National Movement. But I think that this is the most progressive piece of legislation as it relates to this topic that we as a parliament have been able to achieve. A joint select committee allows members of the government, the independents, the opposition to weigh in and to get to a place of some sort of consensus. And this is the furthest we have ever gotten with this. It's been over 20 years of this journey as it relates to this specific process, and it's about time that we are in our final year in this term, and it's about time for us to bring the matter to a vote rather than to leave the research and all that we have gained over the years.
I hear you, Minister. Tell me what the feedback has been like at the town hall meetings when people come and you're explaining this to them. You're trying to encourage them so that they understand what we mean by self-governance, what we mean by, of course, autonomy and all that good stuff. Tell me what the feedback is like from people on the ground in Tobago.
I think there is tremendous support from the persons who show up to the town hall meetings. I have been a part of town hall meetings even before I was a politician. In 2008, when I returned home from university in the US, I returned to Tobago, and this was the conversation on the ground. Consultations had already started, and I fell right in and followed the journey. So now I'm sitting as a member of parliament. I see myself talking to the same people. We have lost some people in the battle. Some persons have died, and I get to see it come to fruition. So I think that there is tremendous support. However, we must also admit that Tobagonians are kind of tired of the topic being dragged on for so long, because year after year, administration after administration, so many politicians and governments have promised internal self-government. There are some people who haven't taken the time out to read and understand where we are and what this thing really means and what's before the parliament. So I think persons are just tired. Some see it as a political football, but at the end of the day, I think this is not the PNM work per se, not just the PNM work, it's the people's work, because people from all walks of life contributed. And I think most importantly, the members of staff and the technical folks, the CPC in the parliament, they worked diligently towards the crafting and getting us to this place We were really, really happy as parliamentarians from different backgrounds to be doing this for Tobago. And right now, to see the type of pushback, for the most part, because of political expediency or for those who are trying to throw the baby out with the bath water, it's disconcerting. But I'm hoping that we get the support on the floor, and it carries. I know a number of opposition members have been saying that they will not support, so I won't be surprised. But I hope that Tobagonians continue to educate themselves or be educated and encourage each other, so that the Tobago House of Assembly would join us in the government in speaking to each other and the rest of the parliament with one voice towards getting these votes to get the legislation passed. As I said, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. But if it were easy to accomplish perfect or exactly what Robinson had visualized, then we would have gotten internal self-government the way we wanted it before, because Robinson himself served at the highest offices in the land, the prime minister, he served as president, and he was in position to move this thing if it took just Robinson. But you have to convince you have to convince enough persons. You have 41 seats. You need this thing requires a 3/4 majority. You need to convince at least 31 persons in the upper house. We as the government, you can guarantee your support. We only have 22 seats, 22 votes, though. You have to convince the opposition of giving us 9 votes. In addition, Tobagonians cannot achieve this by themselves. If we could have passed this in the Tobago House of Assembly by ourselves and gotten it, we do that long time, many moons ago. Forget about what anybody else has to say, because I think it's that one thing that we are all passionate about. However, we can't make laws in the Tobago House of Assembly. We can't change the constitution in the Tobago House of Assembly. It has to come to the parliament. So no matter how much we cuss and shout from Tobago, we need the parliament and members of parliament to support. So I think it's as easy as some people try to make it out to be. It takes tremendous work and cooperation.
Minister, were there any changes made to the bill between the THA and the Parliament when it left THA versus when it was submitted to Parliament to be voted on? Were there any major changes that were made that would make the THA saying, well, I don't know if I want to support this anymore?
In 2016, when we passed our first draft to the when we passed our draft, the Tobago House of Assembly passed a draft to the central government. We then have to look at it and then send it on to the Parliament. We sent to the Parliament just what we got from the Tobago House of Assembly, and the Parliament had to draft and redraft in order so that it can go before the Parliament, because the CPC, in all their wisdom and legal knowledge, cannot take to Parliament matters that can in no way, in any way, go against the existing law of the land and so on. Of course, they would know what can be changed and what cannot be changed. And if we are saying that we do not want secession, and we don't want, Tobago doesn't want to go and be its own independent unitary state, then there were some things that the CPC did not put into the legislation. For instance, this definition of Tobago waters and definition of Trinidad waters, as we were guided by the legal luminaries, the Thompsons, the Bath, and so on. And the information is right there online for those who care to do their research and to see that this is not if we want to remain a unitary state.
Minister, sorry to interrupt, but I just want clarification. What is the CPC exactly, for those of us who don't know?
The Chief Parliamentary Council. So they are responsible for drafting. So we may come up with an idea, or we may say we want X, Y, and Z. They now have to craft it into legal terms or legalese, as we like to say, so that it is palatable and it could be reflected in the law without damaging what we already have as a unitary state, if we want to remain a unitary state. And that's what Tobagonians have said. We want to remain a part of Trinidad and Tobago. So if we're an archipelagic country, then the waters are seen as a unifying thing and not something for separation. So therefore, in saying Tobago waters and Trinidad waters, there are no Tobago waters. There are no Trinidad waters. You have the island of Tobago, the island of Trinidad, and all the waters in between belong to we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. However, for the administration of the Tobago Island Government Bill, yes, we have increased the miles from 6 miles to 11 miles so that the Tobago House of Assembly could administer what they're doing through the laws that are about to be changed once passed and the areas of responsibility in Tobago.
Now, Minister, you mentioned earlier that Tobagonians can't change this law on their own. So why is it so important to have Tobagonians on board and believing in this mission if it is the people that we need to convince the members of the opposition?
Because I think that this is a national matter, and any move made or any amendments made to the law affects us both in Trinidad and in Tobago. Why convince Trinidad? Why convince those opposite? One, we need their vote. Two, I think if we speak from a place of unity and we are saying this is the Tobago position, then nobody could separate us or nobody could try to do something opposite to what all the people of Tobago say that they want. So it's in the same way in 2021, the UNC could have come to the parliament and say, well, we hear opposing views from Fadi and the Tobago, therefore we are not supporting. But if we're all in Tobago saying with one loud, strong Tobago voice that this is what we want as a people for the development of our people and our island, I think that the parliament and the people of Trinidad would agree and support, because I think in my time as a parliamentarian, Trinbagonians usually support bringing government closer to home and having people being able to freely, confidently, and courageously influence the decisions that treat with their own development and their well-being. I've never seen anybody opposed to that. Keeping the power at the central government or keeping the power at the top, it's such a back in the day archaic type of thing. And if we're looking at modernizing our democracy and ensuring that our people are properly served in Trinidad and Tobago, it's about bringing decision making and bringing the power close to the people so they can influence the decisions, the policies, and the operations that affect their day-to-day lives.
Minister, I have to ask, I know that 2025 is set to be an election year. I know no announcement has been officially made, but according to the law, we're set to have elections sometime in 2025. Is there a push to get this bill passed before the election?
It's a push to get the bill passed before the parliament closes. We are at the committee stage, and if we close, we would lose the work of the parliament. Now, we don't know who, and this is the first time we've been able to get this type of research, this type of cooperation nationally and internationally. A lot of work. I'm talking about 20 years of consultation, research, technical guidance, and so on from United Nations Commission on the Law of the Sea, United Nations Development Program, you name it, other parliaments, Ireland, Scotland, everybody weighed in helping us trying to get to this place for Tobago. So we are at committee stage in an effort to save the work. If you bring it to a vote, you're going to lose all that we would have gained over the years in research and so on. So why let an election happen? You don't know which parliamentarians you're going to get the next time around. You don't know if it's going to be the same government or the same people. And therefore, you will have to start all over again. This is my second time I've served in this committee twice, 2018 to 2020, and then again from 2020 to 2021. And in the second edition of the Joint Select Committee, we lost people like Ramona Randile, we lost Clarence Rambarat, we lost a couple members. So for the new members who came in, we then had to explain and spend a couple of our sessions trying to bring them in the loop and so on. We may not have as many parliamentarians from this parliament left in the next parliament. God alone knows that. So if we've come this far with this work and we continue to promise Tobago that here what we are going to bring this thing to a vote, why not finish the work that we have started and give the parliament and the people the opportunity to have a say and to bring this thing to a close so we can make some type of advancement. Because what you have, nobody can tell me that at number 40 that we operate on right now is anywhere close to what is being proposed. We have made significant strides. It's chalk and cheese, so it brings us much closer to where we want to be, one. And two, this is as far as we can get these current parliamentarians to agree. When Robinson tried in 1990, that is as far as he could have gotten the people of that day to go. So here we are in 24, so many years later, more than 25 years later for sure. Here we are trying to see how far we can take the parliamentarians who are with us now. And God alone knows in the future, the people of the day, the youth especially, may say, we want federalism. If we bring them closer to that spot, then they would be more confident and courageous in pursuing federalism. But if they are asked to operate from Act 40, 1990, that's a far leap. And if you're not willing to accept what we have here now, which is the best the Parliament is willing to offer, and this is not the best the PNM is willing to offer, because at the end of the day, as I say, the PNM alone cannot carry the vote. This came out of joint security and the work of the Parliament.
So, Minister, just for clarity, what happens if this goes to Parliament for a vote and it does not pass? If it don't get the required amount of votes, does the process start over?
I'll tell you. In 2013, when Kamala Persad-Bissessar, in her capacity as Prime Minister, brought a bill that she thought was good enough for Tobagonians, and it was shut down in the Parliament, and Tobagonians rejected it in the 2013 THA election. She remained in government until 2015 and never brought back that matter to the Parliament. Never brought back that matter to the Parliament. Yeah. So for us, it's about bringing the matter to a vote. And we have a couple months left in this parliamentary term. So if we vote and it's not passed, then that's where it sits. We would have to see what the parliamentarians of tomorrow, those who make it into the 13th parliament, will do with the whole process.
Now, Minister, I have to ask, because people are often interested to find out, the details of some of these processes. Every time we have to go through this process of bringing it back up and doing the research and having a joint select committee, can you give me an average as to how much it costs taxpayers?
Well, in order to get to, we're talking about 20 years from roughly 2004 to 2024. And I think we have not sat down and did a budget, to be honest with you, because the Tobago House of Assembly would have done its work from 2007 all the way to 2016. Yeah, in different terms, having consultations, bringing on John Prince Committee, flying in people from St. Kitts Nevis and so on. I'm sure there is of course, there is a cost. But to say we have added what the Tobago House of Assembly has spent over the years, in addition to what the Parliament has spent over the years, I'm unable to see that.
Okay, understood. Well, Minister, any words you want to leave with the public before we wrap up this morning, just to make sure that you put it in a nice bow for them so that they understand why this is important?
Well, Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago, this is our time, this is our opportunity to deliver internal self-government, greater autonomy to people of Tobago. And this could only redound to the benefit of not only Tobago, but also Trinidad and Tobago, because if any one part of the country is strong, it makes us all stronger and sweeter. At the end of the day, we're talking about improved allocation from 4.03% to 6.8% as the floor for the budget. That means more money to run your business. We're talking about having a legislature where Tobago can make laws for the first time for the matters under its exclusive authority. This specific legislation before us speaks to less interference and oversight of the cabinet. You would be in charge of your own business. We're talking about the ability to borrow, the ability to invest, the ability to have the FRC, the Fiscal Review Committee, so that we can get even bigger allocations than the 6.8%. It's about pride, it's about a stronger sense of self, it's about dignity, and it's about delivering to Tobagonians based on our dreams and our aspirations for so many decades and generations. So I would encourage Tobagonians to get on board. Do not be led astray by selfish politicians. Do not be led astray by those who are encouraging you to do not support the bills for their political expediency. I'll tell you something real quick, my dear. I was traveling sometime this week, and the driver was asking me, are you guys sure you really want this? I feel like Tobago backpedaling. Because here you are getting more authority and you're backpedaling. What you have for Act 40 versus what is being proposed now, it's such a far cry. It's so much progression made, and Tobagonians are acting like they don't want it. I feel like they don't want the responsibility. And this matter of internal self-government has been a political football for so long. It's easy to stay in Tobago and blame Trinidad not doing this, Trinidad and giving money. It makes good politics. And there are people who have propelled their political careers based on this talk of internal self-government and this. But now we are at a stage where you're getting the increased autonomy and authority, and we've come this long distance, and you're backpedaling. Do you really want it? So I said, nah, it can't. It really can't be that. So at the end of the day, I hope Tobagonians are wise, that we read, we educate ourselves, and encourage each other and the Parliament to do the needful, and support these bills for ourselves, not only for ourselves, but more so for the young people who are coming up, who are going to lead Tobago, so that we can strengthen our economy and have a stronger sense of pride and dignity for our own social and economic development. I think this is a major step, a leap in the right direction for us to do right by Tobago, Tobagonians, and Trinidad and Tobago by extension.
Minister, thank you so very much for joining us this morning and for sharing the information. And we look forward to seeing how it unfolds as we go forward. Yeah? Enjoy the rest of your day.
Enjoy. Take care.
Take care. That's the Honourable Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis, the Minister of Sport and Community Development, chatting with us there more in her capacity as Tobago West MP and talking about the push towards Tobago's internal self-governance and autonomy. We take a quick break and come back with more on the Now Morning Show. Stick around.